Welcome to the Home Assistant Podcast, episode number 12. I'm Dan, and joining me, the usual suspects, Phil and Rowan. Hey, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
A nice late/early recording of this podcast. It's 11 p.m. for me, and is it 5 a.m. for you, Rowan?
It is, yeah. It's 5:15 right now.
Sorry. The only person that's got a civilized hour is Phil, and that's because he organized it.
Yeah. It's funny how that works.
Oh, it had nothing to do with me at all. I was thinking of you guys, you know.
That's all good.
Well,
that's what makes it fun.
7 a.m. for Rowan, it would have been 1 a.m. for me, so you can't really win.
That's right.
So, in the last episode, we actually talked a heck of a lot about 5.7, and basically we kind of made predictions based on pull requests that had been merged into the dev branch, and we did pretty well. No IPs in there, which we talked about, failed to ban, and Microsoft TTS, and also I think we talked about the Linode sensor as well. That's in there. Another cool bit of news this release cycle is IKEA actually reached out and went, "Hey, we're going to break your integration with our home automation system. Here's how you fix it."
That was very nice of them.
Yeah. Actually said, "We consider the CO AP interface as our internal interface not developed for third-party use. Therefore, we do not offer any technical support. However, this does not mean we want to hinder your work."
That's really great.
Yeah. So
it's interesting because it kind of shows almost how, just the traction of the platform as well, right? So
yeah,
to say like, hey, you know what, we're a large company like IKEA, right? They really don't even need to contact anybody, and they can kind of do whatever they want to do.
I also think it's a little hat tip to Home Assistant. I know when IKEA launched the trad-free bulbs, Home Assistant was pretty much onto it straight away with their integration with the trad-free bulbs. I think maybe a week after the IKEA bulbs came out, there was a component ready to go in Home Assistant.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so they've actually provided some pretty solid, command examples. And, it's really cool. They also said, "We'd like to request that the security code that is printed on the gateway is not stored permanently in the application." Sounds fair.
Yeah, I think that sounds fair.
Yeah. So, yeah, wow. Another example of, exactly just showing how much clout Home Assistant now has, because it's become one of the major players.
Yeah. Well, hopefully IKEA themselves somewhere are using Home Assistant internally and realize, wait a second, how does this integration work?
Yeah, true.
Maybe they've got a nice demo somewhere of like an IKEA bulb or like a whole little. I'd like to think there's an IKEA store somewhere that's completely powered by Home Assistant using their IKEA lights.
Exactly. I mean, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, at least someone who's, in that team is using it at home and has gone, it's going to break. Let's get them to fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me if whoever it is that's emailed is actually using it themselves.
Which, hey, good for you. I mean, it's funny because they did mention, hey, this information's okay to spread online, but please remove my email address.
Yeah, but they did email it from, like an official email address, so it must have been kind of vaguely sanctioned.
Yeah.
But I guess they don't want a million people emailing them support requests. "Oh, my bulbs don't work."
Exactly.
So you can just see that happening. Right. What else is in 5.7? There's a timer component, which is one of the primary reasons why I switched to AppDaemon, is that doing timed motion lights and things like that was just so unbelievably painful with scripts. So being able to have a timer is so good. I haven't looked into it heaps. One of the things that I have with AppDaemon is I actually create a sensor which tells me how long the timer's got left. I don't think you can actually query it for the timer value.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So
yeah,
essentially we have it, but we can't really use it in your automations just yet.
Well, you can. So I think you can set a timer and then it will fire a timer finished event. So you'll know when the timer's done.
Right.
I think you can also reset the timer if you need to. So let's say you've got two motion sensors and one goes off and the timer hasn't completed yet, you can actually reset the timer back to its original value to start it counting down again.
Yeah, so most of the stuff I use it there, and the visible countdown's more of a cosmetic thing, so it's not going to stop anyone from actually using it.
Right.
There is a warning on it, which is with the current implementation, timers don't persist over restarts. After a restart, they'll be idle again to get with their initial configuration. But that's the same with my current AppDaemon timer as well. You restart it and the sensor's gone because it's created by AppDaemon, and all my lights are on and they don't turn off until you trigger it, and then the timer elapses again.
So don't do it in the middle of the night is what you're saying.
Yeah. It gets to a point, this is a bit of a sidetrack, but it gets to a point where restarting your Home Assistant is actually quite a destructive process.
Absolutely. You sort of need a production and a staging site
The
to test your automation changes first.
Exactly. So you're only restarting it when you absolutely have to. And there are lots of persistence modules, but with AppDaemon, because the time is kind of stored inside the Python methods, it's a bit harder to save that. I imagine that the timer that's built in might actually be a bit better if they, so there's a feature request for the new timer, which is, brand new. So I'm not knocking it in any way, but being able to tell it, here's a sensor name, please set that to the time left. That would pretty much solve all my problems.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And another one which we'll just mention quickly is there is a binary sensor, a random binary sensor. So it'll randomly generate, true, false. And every time you hit it to ask for its value, it'll generate a new one. So it's a good way to test automation rules. No doubt people will find awesome uses for that, but it's just one of those extra things that's there, and
might be really cool for like a Halloween or maybe Christmas lights. If you want to have like random events happening, light flashing at a random time, that might be a good use for it.
Yep, or your internal lights if you randomly want to turn them on.
Yeah, if you ever need a random party mode.
That's right.
Or for while you're away from home, every 5 minutes or, every X minutes it goes, what's the state? And if it's 1, turn the lights on, and if it's 0, turn them off.
Yeah.
Then you might have someone call the cops because I think just someone's flicking the light switch on and off for you.
Well, if you have a kid, that might seem normal.
Yeah, true.
Isn't that why light switches are generally, at kind of adult chest height so the kids can't reach them?
That never stopped me as a child, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I stayed in an apartment in our capital city over the weekend, and the light switches were all super, super low. Like you'd be feeling for them in the dark and have to go, oh, that's right, I actually have to reach it down. So it was kind of weird.
Really? That's bizarre. I always thought that was like a standard where you have it at like a certain height, right? Like,
yeah. Well, my switches here in our apartment are all waist height.
I can't say I've ever seen that. I don't know why this concept just seems so bizarre to me.
Yeah, like in this old house, they're all actually at about shoulder height for me. I'm not super tall, but they're actually reasonably high. Even when the house got rewired, they just stuck the new switches in the same spot, so they're all quite high.
Wow, that's
which makes sense, I guess. When you're at eye level, the first thing you want to look for is a switch. You don't want to be looking down to find the switch. But then also I can see, having a switch at waist height, you don't have to raise your arm so high to turn the light on, and it's good for little people who want to turn the lights off and on.
Yeah.
It's kind of also good to have them in the same place in every house. So when you're in a strange place, you don't have to fumble around the wall for a light switch.
Now that would be convenient. While we're at it, we just change every light, every socket in the world to be the same plug, so we don't need those travel adapters.
Oh my God.
So to be fair, this is a home automation podcast, so we shouldn't even be talking about light switches because
you're right.
That is true. This is why we have motion. This is why we have presence.
Exactly.
We did an entire episode on that.
We did. Oh dear. So looking forward, 0.58. I could only find one, which was actually a breaking change, which is that it's adding a baud rate option to the serial sensor. Because someone's gone, well, it doesn't define the baud rate, and it's kind of important.
Yeah.
So that got merged through, and I agree, it is rather important because 9600 only goes so far.
Yeah.
Yes. So good to see that in there, but it is a breaking change. I believe that you actually have to define it in any of your serial sensors, otherwise it's going to be a bit unhappy.
Yeah.
And last week we sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to move on to the next one. So
Go for it.
So last week we talked about the translations in Home Assistant, and Localize came out and said, "Hey, we're going to support you guys. Here's a free account. Let everyone just help translate your app through us." Like, how cool is that?
It's awesome. I think a few tools were trialed, but Localize sound like the best one, and free. Can't complain.
Hey,
good advertising for Localize as well, and it looks like a really good platform to make it super easy for translations, which is what we want, because we, a lot of the people that can speak multiple languages might not be, part of the technical people, so you want it.
They don't have to know code to help translate.
Yeah, it's just here's a word. Please give us that word in your language.
That's awesome. That's a great way to help out to your point.
Well, the more translations we get, the further reaching this project's going to be.
Yeah, and I mean, it sounds like that's the whole translation project in Home Assistant's taken off as well. So thank you for everybody for helping. I mean, that's fantastic.
It's really cool to see all the, because Home Assistant retweet a lot of people tweeting about Home Assistant, and now you can see like a lot of different languages being retweeted from Home Assistant as well. It's like there's people in Germany like tweeting about Home Assistant and wherever else, and it's just cool. Like you say, oh, I don't know what that says, but Home Assistant thinks it's cool, so it must be cool.
Exactly. I'm also going to retweet this, hoping it's with good intentions.
Yeah. Well, TweetDeck does actually have a, translate this button. So I'm hoping that whoever's running the Twitter account is actually translating them first. It could be embarrassing.
That's right.
Yeah. Now someone just needs to translate it into Klingon, please.
I'd like to see a pirate version. Maybe I'll come up with that.
That would be cool.
That
International
would be cool.
Pirate Day. And then you can just set an automation to set language on Pirate Day for you. Bam, there you go.
Guest goes into the interface, I think your thing is broken.
How do I turn the light on? Oh, just push YAR.
Oh, man. Right, so Oktoberfest is over. I think much to the relief of quite a few people involved with the project. The comment made on the post was, it's a miracle that everyone's still alive.
Yeah, and the stats were pretty high too, right? It looks like from the documentation, it's 295 out of 310 made it through.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's fantastic. That's a really high percentage.
Yeah, not to mention the main repo, 273 were merged out of 307 that were submitted.
Yeah. So
there was more updates to the docs than the actual functions, which is good because a lot of people, I know one of the pet peeves a lot of people have with Home Assistant is the docs not being up to scratch. So it's good to see those getting updated.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are even 57 pull requests merged into front end as well.
Very cool.
Yeah. So, apparently that was a very quick fire. Here's what's happened since the last episode. So that's that bit. So we've got a couple of items now. One is that Logitech have announced today actually, that they're going to brick one of their Harmony hubs that people have paid good money for. So it's the Harmony Link hub. They are shutting down all the services, and they've said On March 16th, 2018, Logitech will discontinue service and support for Harmony Link. Your Harmony Link will no longer function after this date.
So I remember they did this with Squeezebox. They just said, that's it, we're not making this anymore. But they ended up open sourcing the Squeezebox platform.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's where that comes from. But with this hub, there's no support. So I think if you buy, because the Link Hub is still on sale today. So if you buy it today or it's within the warranty period, you can get a free upgrade to the Harmony Hub, which is the version you'll have with your Elite remotes. That's for free. Mm-hmm. If you're outside the warranty period, you can upgrade to the Harmony Hub for a 30% discount. That's, I believe, Logitech's offering there.
It's
right.
I'm not sure I really blame them hugely because the Link Hub was released in 2011, so it's been around for a long time.
Yeah. So there's two sides to this coin, right? Which is, hey, it's been around for a while. They got to sunset it at some point. They can't keep it up forever. But the other side of the coin is, well, now we're bricking it, which means a lot of people that spent good money on it, right? It's not super cheap, but it's not super expensive, but it's not super cheap either. So
yeah, like if you've paid for a product, you expect it to keep, especially because there's no reason for it to stop working that you know of.
Exactly. If the product fails on its own, that's different versus a company is choosing to not support it anymore. Right.
And I think one of the reasons they came out with was there's a certificate or something that's going to expire on that date. That's why the date is very specific. And Logitech is just not going to renew that certificate.
Yeah, and don't read the comments. I'm looking at the we're looking at a Verge article, and there's a Logitech community forum, and it's like class action lawsuit, and I'm never buying Logitech again. And
but again, and on the to my first point, it's and to your point, Dan, it's more of, well, at some point they've got to pull the plug, right? And I think this is almost a dilemma that cloud-based services have now, which is, well, cool, we can't really stop without having a backlash. So,
yeah, I think I hope that people will get used to it, because it's just not possible for them to support everything. And if you want new products, then it's just something you have to live with. There's only so many products a company can support, and if you want the latest and greatest, and if you want them to keep innovating, you have to say goodbye to the old stuff and accept that, you pay $200 for something in 2011, and 6 years later, it's, has practically no value, and then they, phase it out, and then it has no value.
Yeah.
But, $200 over 6 years it's not a bad investment.
No, I think the bigger problem comes with that people that bought it, maybe not last year, but just after that 12-month period, right? Where
they're exactly
30 off rather than a new free new version. For the people that ended up getting a new free version, hey, awesome.
Yeah, that's true. I guess, the people that bought it 12 months and 1 day ago from today are not going to be happy.
Right.
There's also that thing like where they have to, they've got a cloud-based service, and I think a lot of companies are realizing that they're trying to offset the cloud costs by just pushing out all these new devices. But then when no one's buying any new devices, there's still that cloud cost. And that's where we get into the realm of like, why do I have to pay a subscription for a cloud fee and all that? It gets a bit, maybe this is why I think, removing as much as you can from the cloud and keeping it local, as Home Assistant obviously wants to promote, is, this is a reason why you avoid cloud at all costs.
Yeah, but then at the moment, cloud is convenient.
Yeah.
And I spend a lot of time pushing people to the cloud at work because it just makes sense for, enterprises, get Microsoft to run their software for you, and it tends to run a lot better. But for things like home automation, I can see the reason for keeping it at home, especially when things like this happen.
Yeah, exactly. And again, companies and stuff have different budgets too, right? Typically, a company would have more money to spend on something than an individual would. But But again, there are a lot of plus sides with cloud. It's, hey, you know what? I no longer need to manage versions of code and stuff like that. Maybe depending on the service, maybe you might, but for the most part, you don't. Or an update is just a click, and then pushes down an update and says, "Okay, I'm ready." So it's convenience like that versus the more or less, you can call it a ticking time bomb, right? Which is, and Phil, I think you hit the nail on the head there, which is, well, these guys got to pay for it at the end of the day.
Yeah, cloud costs money.
Yeah, and Logitech is a for-profit company. We keep forgetting that too, right? Yeah,
I think I'm possibly less sympathetic because there's no way I would keep something for 6 years. my technology in my house does not last that long.
Yeah.
Well, so you say that, but then look, I've got a couple of Sonos Play 1 speakers, and they're like 10 years old, and they can play Apple Music, they can play all the like Spotify. Like Sonos are really good with, like, they actually plan like a 10-year cycle for their devices, and they keep them updated. Like true. my Sonos speakers now work with Alexa. So I guess it just depends on the company and how much they're willing to back the product for the long haul.
Yeah.
I guess there's like the Sonos speakers, you get all the new features, but there's stuff that you won't have in the Link Hub that you get in with the the Elite remotes and the Harmony Hub. So yes, what I mean is, like, I'm always new toys, because the Play 1 is the Play 1. There's a new Play 1-ish now that has voice built in, but the Play 1 is still the same Play 1 that you would have bought 10 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess, if a product gets superseded by the manufacturer, I'm probably going to buy the new one.
Which I think a lot of comments were, I think there's in Europe, they're actually trying to crack down on companies doing this, like planned obsolescence for technology. So it'll be interesting to see how Logitech's going to handle this one.
Yeah, that's where people are saying class action lawsuit, because there have actually been a couple of successful ones lately.
Yeah, well, Logitech might find themselves in a little bit of hot water. Sounds like a PR nightmare too. I'm sure they expected it when they decided to announce this. So
yeah, surely they would have. But again, they're a for-profit company, and it's just the way it is. I have quite strong limits to my sympathy for this particular situation.
Yeah,
but
I said, both sides of the argument are valid.
I'd be interested to hear from our listeners as well. Feedback at haspodcast.io. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm stupid. Tell me whatever you want. Interested to hear, and we'll read the appropriate ones on the next podcast.
Yeah, let's try and keep it PG-13.
Absolutely. Keep our clean tag. That'd be nice. So the final topic is remote access. Someone asked in the podcast channel if we could talk about keeping it secure. I don't have Discord up, I'm sorry, so I don't know who it was, but they were saying that they were an IT person, so they're pretty capable of making it secure, but there's a lot of people, as we've mentioned already in this podcast, that may not be quite so technologically advanced. So doing port forwards and setting up HTTPS and making sure your things are secure is not super easy.
Yeah, that's Smadger you're talking about too on the Discord channel.
What was that?
That's Smadger, who asked that on the Discord channel.
Gotcha. Excellent. So one of the things that's actually coming at some point is Cloud Connect, which Paulus is working on, which will be a kind of a reverse port forward. So you go to a service and go, I want this domain, and then you tell your Home Assistant to talk to the server, and then it'll send traffic back along that connection, basically, so that you can access your Home Assistant without setting up port forwards and all that kind of scary stuff. So that's really cool.
It's similar to what Synology use for their remote access for their network storage servers.
Yeah, and even
if you've got one of those servers. Yeah, exactly.
Do that as well. I actually jumped into the devs channel the other day. So I went, I hope someone's working on this, and asked about it. And they went, yep, Paulus is working on it. So I was like, excellent. Actually found the branch that he's working on it in, and it's looking pretty good.
Nice.
So when that comes along, that'll be the way to do it. There'll be very few reasons not to do it that way. As long as it's secure. We all know that things like Hue aren't particularly secure, but I know that Paulus is going to do a much better job than Philips. So if you do want to do it the hard way, which is the only way at the moment, a few things to consider. You definitely want to set up encryption, and if you're running Hash.io, that's nice and easy. I'm pretty sure there's a Let's Encrypt plugin for Hash.io, am I right?
Yep,
there is.
Yep, so that's obviously the easiest way to do it, but there's some pretty good guides out there for doing Let's Encrypt with, on the Pi or in Docker or wherever you happen to be running it. That is one of the important things, because having a password on your Home Assistant installation is all well and good, but if you're sending that password unencrypted over the internet, not such a good idea. Though, realistically, the chances that someone's going to sniff that traffic and get your password is super, super low. But for the effort that it takes to set up encrypted access, it's not worth the risk.
Exactly. Well, the problem is there is still a chance, right? Even if it's 1 in a million, there's that one.
Yeah.
It's just when you're on that free hotel Wi-Fi, that's when you're at most risk.
That's true.
Yeah. Yep. And again, it's unfortunate, because kind of the state of, you hear all these hacks or these, like, hey, this corporation just lost, whatever out to the public, right? And at a time like this, you would think security comes a lot easier, but it's unfortunately not yet, right? But hopefully the Cloud Connect piece changes that. So
you're right. That's as things get more complicated, they get harder to secure. Not just Home Assistant, but everything. And so many companies are losing data at the moment because their systems are so complex. It's just so hard to keep it all secure.
Yeah.
So I guess the best kind of suggestion for remote access to your Home Assistant at the moment is don't, unless you really, really want to.
Yeah.
And then probably find, if you don't know how to set up port forwards and firewalls and HTTPS and things like that, find someone to do it for you. You could potentially, open your entire house to the internet unsecured and unpassworded.
Don't
do the wrong thing. You don't want to do that. You'll find that your lights start turning on and off, and and it will happen because people will find it and go, "Oh, this will be fun."
Yeah, exactly. Who was? I think this is me getting off topic, but I think it was Ben at Bra Automation who did a publicly open, hey, change the lights, change the colors of my Christmas lights.
Yeah, that was last year. He did that.
Yeah. So,
many thousands of people hit that. It was,
Except you don't want that to happen to your actual lights or anything else in your house.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, I've done that too. I just set up a camera and pointed at a light bulb, and hundreds of people are like, "Hey, this is fun!" Like small things.
Yeah, I'm actually curious. Does and I haven't seen it in a while, but does Hash.io have the have like an open VPN module or something like that?
That's interesting.
I don't think it does. I know it has like a duck DNS component, so it can manage your DNS for you, and definitely the Let's Encrypt. But I don't know if it has an open VPN module yet.
Because that might be interesting, right? Like just to have okay, you know what? Everything was closed off until I specifically come in and tunnel in, kind of thing. Right?
Yeah.
Which is a valid security method, right? To try and keep it a little more secure than just having your Home Assistant out on the internet with your password down there.
Yeah, absolutely. Does OpenVPN run inside Docker?
Honestly, I haven't looked at the project in a while. Easy way to find out. Let me Google
Yeah,
that.
I think there might be. I know I use a VPN to establish a VPN connection outside, so there's got to be one that would let you come inside through Docker.
Yeah, because Docker does its networking in weird and wonderful ways, so I've never actually looked into it.
Yeah, I do see that there are projects that do it. I don't know if it's necessarily official, but it's there. It exists. So
Remember the days of OpenVZ and the problems that you can have with running containers.
Exactly.
Running OpenVPN. It looks like you have to give it net admin permissions, which is kind of defeats the point of Docker a little bit from a security perspective. But if you're running HASIO, it probably doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, again, that is a valid method, right? And
yeah,
I haven't looked at OpenVPN in years personally, but I even a few years ago when I looked at it, it wasn't a difficult setup. There should be enough documentation out there, and a lot of distributions of custom firmware and such for routers also have OpenVPN built in. And if that's the case, I mean, awesome, use that, right?
Absolutely. There's OpenVPN Access Server as well, which is the commercial version. I think it's free for a couple of connections.
Yeah,
and that's really, really easy to set up.
Yeah, exactly. Which it's essentially just a proxy that says, okay, well, do you have a login? Yep. Okay, cool. Now where are you trying to go, right? And then let me show that for you. But yeah, and then I mean, I personally do it a lot more complicated way, having certificates and so on and so forth. So only devices that are authorized can hit my installation. But that's also not the easiest to manage, and again, it's tedious.
You do work for a networking vendor, though.
Yeah, exactly. So, but despite that, it's that with that hat on, it's me going, hey, VPN is easy enough, right? So, and I'm sure they have. I don't know, but I'm sure there's an OpenVPN mobile app or. Actually, it's IPsec based, I think. So it should be just straight. You should be able to use your phone's native VPN functions.
Yeah, it depends how you set it up, but I'm pretty sure there's an OpenVPN client for all the various mobile operating systems as well.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, we're not being very helpful with this. If you don't know how to do it, you probably shouldn't. Not at this stage anyway.
Yeah, keep it internal.
Unless you have an absolute need for it, I don't think it's necessary to open it up to the world just yet.
Yeah.
Especially with it's Cloud Connect or Cloud something. I don't know exactly. It was off the top of my head. But yeah, maybe we should poke Paulus and ask him actually when that is going to be out. I can actually have a look and see what the branch is called. Cloud Connection. I was close.
Oh, okay.
But he's actively committing to it. So, yeah, it'll be interesting.
Might be a nice Christmas present for everyone.
Yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
And there you have it. You have a commitment on behalf of Paul. No, kidding. It's no, you're right. Again, there's you know what? I'm not gonna rush it. I'd rather it be done properly. And
yes,
but that is a really cool idea. I'm a huge advocate of stuff like that. So
yeah, I can be sure that way that it's secure because it's been managed by people who know what they're doing, know the product inside out as well. I guess that's the important bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. I think that's probably a good place to wrap it up if you guys don't have anything else to add.
Perfect. I'm good.
Keep it short and sweet. Thanks to everyone for your kind words this week. We've had a few people drop into the Discord channel just to say that they enjoyed the podcast. So keep it up. It definitely helps us be motivated to get up or stay up to actually record the podcast. Yeah, working on open source projects can be a thankless job sometimes. So, if someone puts in a pull request that helps you out, find them on Discord or comment on the pull request and say thanks, because it actually does make a difference.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks, guys, once again, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Take care.